Hi there, welcome to another episode of High Quality Quiz Bowl content. Today we're going to be going over my top three fine arts ballot for the Illinois postseason poll. Make sure to vote in that. So I'm joined here
Hello.
with Arjun, and we're just gonna go over my top three, and as well as some honorable mentions. My number three on my list was Justin Whitmire from Buffalo Grove. Not as well known as some others, because he's not on like a top 10 team this year. But Justin Whitmire is definitely a very strong history and fine arts specialist, fine arts especially. I moderated for him multiple times at the online blast tournament. I went through the stats, and he put out 12 fine arts powers in 9 games. Definitely very impressive. Also, I met him at NASAT tryouts, where on the workshop set, he definitely impressed me, especially when we were talking about like going over like the individual bonus rounds that were read to us, and he was talking about how like he couldn't remember this like ridiculously hard part to this one fine arts bonus, and I was definitely just like blown away by him, his skill, and I think that even though his fine arts specialism is kind of shadowed by his overall generalism, he's still a very strong fine arts specialist. So yeah, what's your take on Justin?
So my sneeze aside, I'd agree. I know we said to disregard online stats for the purpose of the poll, but when there's very little in-person experience you can go off of, and that's not to say Justin didn't play tournaments. He played tournaments. He had pretty solid kickoff performance, I think, too, and he definitely played Masonic IHSA, but online tournaments still provide some data when you have no other data to go off of. And his 12 powers in 9 games or whatever was by far the best fine arts performance in a field that included other players such as Thomas Mercurio and Ben Fry. And his 12 powers in 9 games on just fine arts was better than not only his history and literature performance in that tournament, and Justin's a super good history player, as we've already discussed, but 12 powers in 9 games is also more than many top players got in their entire blast tourney. And he got that in just fine arts, so that's pretty good dominance in a relatively small category. I've played him only once this season at Masonic Sectionals, and he seemed generally good and solid, so I think he deserves his place.
Yeah, I think so. Justin Whitmire, I think he's stronger at music than he is at visual, but I think he's good all around, and definitely deserving of his number three spot on this list. So the number two is you, Arjun Nageshwar. I guess I'll go over it. Arjun is the fine arts player for Stevenson, definitely specializing more in music than visual, but as he is a strong generalist, he's good all around, or you're good all around. I'm not sure whether to refer to you in the second or third person, but
I'm not here.
You're not here. All right. But yeah, in the games where I've played against you, you always definitely provided a strong challenge in both visual and auditory arts. You took a visual art toss up off me at NQ State, which I was very impressed by. And aside from that, when you play against you, you guys always seem to have a very high bonus conversion in fine arts, which I think just speaks to how good you are. And even though you're not really a dedicated fine arts specialist, I think you're still deserving of this number two spot. So yeah, and then number one, the other person in this call, it's me. So I'm the fine arts specialist for uni. I've definitely been. I'd like to call myself a top tier fine arts specialist in Illinois for the past few years. It's definitely my main category. I'm stronger at music right now than visual, but I'm definitely working on my visual coverage for college play. Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys don't know Dylan's the best at fine arts, you've clearly never played him in a game of Quizball, and it really shows, honestly. We talk about how Dylan Bowman's by and far the best science player in Illinois, but part of that is him being insane at science, and part of it is also the relative distance between him. But fine arts, it's all about Dylan. It's all about how good Dylan is. You could study, but Dylan is just another level. When Dylan was, I can't speak for Dylan, but I assume when he was filling out this poll, he probably went one Dylan. He went who even is there in fine arts other than me? And that's a fair sentiment. Dylan's just so dominant. In music, there's a score clue. Dylan's gonna get it, and not only is Dylan gonna get it, he's gonna keep humming that score clue for the rest of the tournament. And other players might ask, "What are you humming?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the clue I powered on to beat you guys." Dylan's just so good. He's so dominant, and honestly, it'd be a better Illinois if he had never existed, because maybe fine arts toss-ups could actually be competitive. But no, in a world with Dylan Bowman, you're doomed to forever see Dylan just take toss-up after toss-up after toss-up. Yep, that's 3 for the 3 fine arts toss-ups. He's gonna power one after another. Assuming, the 3 tosses will be spaced out.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off there. To the viewer, I'm not as dominant or as completely insane as as insane as Arjun is stating. But I'd like to think that I'm pretty good. So anyway, thanks for going into perhaps a little bit too much detail there. But anyway, our honorable mentions, which I forgot to go over. Let's see. Danny Kim from Fremd is definitely a very strong music specialist. I've talked to him a few times online about music. He's a very, well-read guy on music, and in games, he's gotten music off me before, and I think he's definitely very impressive. Visual arts, he's not as strong in, and that's, I guess, the weakness of this being an overall fine arts poll. I think that if this were a music-only poll, Danny would definitely have a better shot at the top spot, because he is definitely a very strong music specialist. Next, or I guess not next, because this isn't ordered, but Aiden Fine from Springfield, also a pretty good fine arts player in his own right, strong in jazz. Ben Fry, in addition to being a very strong generalist, he's a good fine arts player. Does well, I guess. I don't really know what else to say. Thomas Mercurio and Abraham Holterman from Hinsdale Central and Barrington, respectively, both pretty good fine arts players on their teams, and they fulfill an important niche on such elite teams. And then last but not least, Ethan Ashbrook from Uni, who is always shadowed by me, but he is very good at arts, trust me. So yeah, that's the video. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them below, and if you want to make a ballot, you can make one just for fine arts if that's where you think you have the best take. So anyway, the link will be in the description, and thanks for watching.